Well, hello and welcome again to the Ironvor Coachcast episode. Well, it's a double episode, so episode 8 and 9. It's currently week 9 of Benny's carnivore journey. We skipped week 8. Benny's going to explain why. And how are you, Benny?
Good, mate, how are you?
I'm good. Yeah, it's a bit chilly here today, so I've got the extra jacket on. I can see you're doing the same.
Yeah, because I'm here now. I'm maybe 5-10 kilometers down the road from you right now. Hence the different background and hence the 2 weeks or the two episode special. So it's been a wild fortnight of moving, but we're done. We're all up. We just need to unpack. So I'm lucky I found my laptop because I can't find anything else.
So why don't you, we had a brief chat about this last week. We did catch up and talk about this, but yeah, let's tell everybody, how did week 8 go? So obviously being prepared for the move and then what happened during the move, and especially as it relates to your diet and what happened.
Yeah.
So let's go through step by step.
Give you all the information. All right. So obviously week 7 was the first blip. So week 7 was the blip when I was caught down in Second Valley helping somebody chop wood, and she cooked an amazing potato bake.
Yeah.
That say I was too blight to refuse, but I was there. I've been chopping wood all day. It smelt delicious, and I definitely had a nice portion of that potato bake. So that was my first fall off the wagon. And then going into the following week, we literally shut down our fridge, chucked it on the back of a truck, sent it up the hill. We had no fridge, no prep, no kitchen, no knives, no plates. And just being unprepared, I fell off the wagon again. I tried the McDonald's double patty, no bun thing. Just didn't like the patties. Not a fan of that. I tried fasting. I thought, fuck it. Excuse the French. If I'm going to do this, is a good opportunity for fasting. So I did a day and a half, close to 2 days fasting, and by that time I almost fell off the back of a truck. I didn't faint, but I almost did, and I had to sit down for a bit, and then Ali got me a Snickers and a Red Bull to fire me up. I don't think she worried about how I was. I think she was worried that she'd have to do the rest of the lifting for the rest of the day. So to get me back on, she's like, "Here, eat this, drink this." Anyway, gave me a full-on charge. But those next 2 or 3 days, I was on Red Bull and Snickers, pretty much fueling me, which is completely against everything. And gave me manic energy, but it gave me energy, and we got moved. And then the 2 days after that, went to butcher sausages, because butcher down the road, chucked them on the hob, simple, until we got everything plugged in. Now fridge is plugged in, kitchen's half unpacked. We've got food in the fridge. In fact, today I've just had some beautiful roast chicken and roast pork sliced, and I think the next 3 weeks will be very easy to get back on and finish strong. But yeah, interestingly, the reason I got onto this was to help with some skin conditions and energy and focus. It all went to shit. Last week my skin started itching, the small rash on my ankle started to bloom up. My cognitive function is still just all over the manor, and I'm feeling fatigued. So I do need to, get the body back into that fat burning mode. I think those cheap calories, that sugar, those carbs, and the sugar and the Red Bull, all that, I think the body just completely reset itself and went the wrong way. But yeah, back on track now. And it was interesting to see the effect that eating junk has on me. Like it was chalk and cheese. So it'll be interesting to see if we go back to the cheese these next 3 weeks.
Yeah, so let's break this down kind of step by step or day by day. Okay, so we had the little fall off the wagon with the pasta.
Friday or Saturday.
Potato bake, sorry. Yeah. You know, not a big deal, but then like as we progress through the week, we're into moving now and everything's in boxes, everything's hard to get, fridge, etc. So I guess this is probably a good conversation point or a good topic to talk about. Like when things get hard and it's not convenient, when things are no longer convenient, we just start grabbing convenient things. And then in this case, you went full convenience and literally went to the convenience store.
For sure.
Bought the Red Bull and the Snickers. And I mean, well, we'll talk about moving. So obviously it's hard to get the food. And then you decided to try to do a fast, which I wouldn't have recommended. If you'd have told me about that, I probably would have said, no, don't do that.
Ultimately,
not today, you know, you're moving house. Yeah, not today. We really need to try to, like those fasts and stuff, you want to do them when you're not in a high stress moment of time, because obviously, like, as you found out, you're moving boxes, you're doing heavy work, no food, probably had like a low blood sugar moment or something when you felt like you were blacking out. Yeah. So that sort of fainting moment. Yeah. I mean, Ali probably did the right thing, getting you some blood sugar. That was probably the quickest way to resolve that issue. But yeah, but then to carry on with a few more Red Bulls and
it's a ray, isn't it?
Yeah. And with the skin condition that popped up, I mean, you showed me because we caught up on Friday morning at the business event that we go to. And yeah, I mean, I saw your skin, man. That was really bad. Yeah, that was a big flare up, isn't it? So sorry, I cut you off before. What were you saying?
Ironically, the rejection of McDonald's led to me going into the fast, which led to me bouncing right back and living off of Snickers and Red Bulls, which is way worse than McDonald's patties. So I think having those cheat meals or having that scale of what's acceptable when you do need to consume some calories on the go, I think having them in your armory is as important as having food in the fridge, because sometimes shit's inconvenient. Sometimes you need to grab something on the go. And we brought it up in the last episode. What is fast food for carnivore?
Yeah. I mean, I do the Macca's meat patties. You know, it's convenient to hit the drive-through, grab a few, you know, quarter pounder patties. I carry a salt grinder in the car, so I've got my own salt, so I heavily salt it. They tend to be cooked on the same hot plate as all the onions and stuff, so sometimes I find that there's pieces of onion and, you know, I don't know what oil they're using, so it's not my preferred food, you know. It doesn't taste the best, it doesn't, like, it's just simply, it's fast food that is meat. You know, there's, so it's, yeah. Sometimes I've bought them on the way home, come home, put a few slices of butter in there, just give it a quick zap with the microwave, and, you know, a bit of butter really helps with the flavour and stuff.
When I did this
fast food
time,
options,
I made jerky and biltong, and I had kilos of the stuff. And not only does it distract you because it's hard to chew through, but there's some good energy in those things.
yeah. I've considered making pemmican. I've never made it before, never had it, but it was a staple in years gone by before refrigeration, etc. So you dry mince or ground beef, as the Americans would call it. So you dry it all out, dehydrate it, and then you grind it into a like a powder, and then tallow. So you melt down some tallow, mix it in with the beef, but you form you try to make like a slab of it, you know? So you end up with these bars of mince with tallow. So it's like crazy calorie density, crazy nutrient density, shelf stable for very long time. You know, in the Wild West, they would just wrap it in paper and off they go, or wrap it in cloth. Yeah. So
Should make some.
making
I'll
it.
try that.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it. I've got a dehydrator, but I don't really use it very often. But you can buy bulk mince pretty cheap. So yeah, it might be a project to do one day. I think when I do some camping trips, I'll definitely try it out.
Well, camping trips are mostly meat anyway. Steak, lamb on fire. Yeah, you don't feel like you're missing out if you just.
When you're hiking or backpacking or motorcycle adventuring, like I've done before, then it's very difficult to take meat. You know, there's no refrigeration, so yeah, might have to do pemmican for my next trip.
Nice.
I don't really want to take those dehydrated meals and stuff. They're full of all kinds of stuff. So cans could be a possibility. I mean, spam's not my favourite thing to eat, but that could be an option.
Let's look at what we will be in moving forward. We've got 3 weeks left.
Yeah.
2-week detraction, which to me was good because it reinforced a few things in terms of the effect. What is it? You don't realize what you're missing. You know, when I saw the flare up and just how I felt, it was interesting to see it. I hadn't changed anything apart from what I was eating. In fact, I was doing more exercise. So next 3 weeks, I've sent you a list of, you know, accountability, what's on the allowed list. And I think, you know, just to, you know, finish strong, I'll take a photo of everything I eat for the next few weeks and we can discuss portion sizes, when I'm doing it. And yeah, it's just some accountability as well.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was that was a key thing we spoke about briefly last week too, is you fell off the wagon, but the wagon's just a little horse-drawn wagon. It's not going very fast, so you can just jump back on, you know, and that's when things get difficult like this, that's the right thing to do, is just jump back on the wagon, you know. Don't need to make it super complicated, but the effect, like that side effect of your skin flaring up quite badly, and your mental acuity, you know, feeling after you've had those couple of Red Bulls and Snickers and getting all hyped up, you know, you've felt this contrast. So you've been clean carnivore and then off the wagon, whoa, now you feel it. And so it is good for you to feel that, to keep that in the memory banks, you know?
I think so.
I think because like when I've explained to you before, like if I have ice cream, I enjoy the ice cream, but I feel like I have a hangover the next day. And that's probably what you've experienced as well.
A little bit of caramel in the latte.
Yeah, yep. Sometimes I have a bit of caramel in my coffee.
But like we were talking, it doesn't have to be perfection. If you're eating clean 98% of the time, a little bit of caramel, a little bit of ice cream is probably not going to derail you too much.
Yeah.
What your body forms as its default, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, we're all still human. We're all living in a society of other people. You know, when it's your niece or nephew's birthday or your kid's birthday or whatever, like you're going to have some cake or something, aren't you? Like it's not the end of the world. And, you know, life's pretty boring if you're just very, very strict on yourself all the time. As long as you just have to be an adult and realize that if you are going to have these, you know, cheat meals, that you can't do them consistently. You can't do them every day or every week or whatever. You have to be very careful about what you consider, you know, a little bit of fun. Because a little bit of fun is how people get addicted to stuff. You know, if it wasn't,
And
if it
sugar,
wasn't
and
sugar,
sugar is addictive. Alcohol
yeah.
is addictive. Just eating junk food in general is addictive. It's addictive as
Yeah.
smoking.
If we were talking, if we just changed the words sugar with cocaine, you wouldn't say, "Oh, just have a little bit of cocaine once a week."
Mhm.
You know, it sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? And that's kind of the same thing with sugar, not as extreme, obviously, but if we just have a little bit of sugar, every week or every 2 days or whatever, like a fortnight or 3 weeks or a month or, for example, I have a coffee at the business meeting every week. There's probably a teaspoon of sugar in that. And, I'm at a venue with potentially up to 100 other businesses. So it's not really it's not, what would you call it? It's not a crutch that I rely on every week. I'm just at a venue, so I can't really make my own coffee at a venue. I'm going to pay for it. I'm going to pay $9 for a coffee. It may as well taste good.
And you've lived the lifestyle, this way of eating, for 2 years. So
Yeah, over 2 years. Yeah.
for over 2 years. For me, and I suppose good time to revisit the goals that we set at the beginning of this. For me, it was as much about the physiological outcome as it was the discipline, the mode adjustment, the eradication, the test and measure. What is the effect that this has on my body? And we've seen it. So I'm getting the results I wanted from this through it all. Next 3 weeks going hardcore pure. 3 weeks is nothing. Even at networking events, I can be a pain in the ass for 3 weeks and say, nah, that's not on my list of consumables. Even Ali, my partner's quite excited for it because it then goes down to discipline. How disciplined can you be when you need to be? 3 weeks, you've got no excuses. So it's all in. And the metrics that we were measuring were obviously body mass percentage, fat percentage, the Evolt age score, and the weight or mass, trying to get down to 100 kilograms. So let's hope with 3 weeks of just, buckling down, we get as close to 44 with the Evolt age as possible. I won't set unrealistic goals and going down to 30. Body fat percentage, I forget what we set as a goal for that, but with the kilograms, I need to get down to 100 kilograms.
Yeah. I know, the 100 kilograms is a good target for you because it's a nice round number. It's we could be a lot leaner for your body size, but that's not a realistic target for this short time frame. And it's also like I don't like to rely on just kilograms. Kilograms is not a great indicator of body composition. It's just a total weight, But I want to go back just quickly about the discipline thing. So I'd say this a lot, but motivation is fleeting. Motivation can come and go at any time. I could be motivated to do this or do that, and it just pops into your head and you feel motivated. You could watch a 30-second video, get all motivated. Oh, it's got great music and it's got a great story and I'm motivated. And it feels great to be motivated. But discipline is what actually carries you through these tasks. We need motivation to start with, but then we need determination and discipline and decisions. So we need like the 3 Ds after the motivation to actually carry through. So it'll be really cool if we can pull off the last 3 weeks with some real discipline. We've skipped the 8-week Evolt scan because things are just too busy for you, and we don't really need to see those results yet. We can wait another 3 weeks.
We had good progress from the first one to the second.
Good progress on the first one. The first one was brilliant. So yeah,
if that continues,
yeah.
I'm sure it's not.
Feeling? let's have a feeling check-in. How are you feeling today, right now? Like, you've had a busy, hectic couple of weeks, but how's things today?
Physically, I'm aching. I imagined moving home would be like it was when I was in my 20s. It was not. And
You got more stuff, and you're a bit older now, so yeah.
to finish 3 full days of moving, we then had to move 1.5 ton of firewood and then break down and clean down an old place and set up. So it was just hardcore. And because of that, my body's just physically buckled. But that's fine. That's to be expected. And I think that would be the same if I had just eaten the same all the way through. Mentally, bit skits, a little bit manic, bit disrupted, possibly due to no clean fuel being burned and my body just wondering what the hell's going on with my diet. Do I burn this? Do I store this? What do I do? But also just the whole stress of the scenario. But I feel like I've summited and I'm working my way through the other side. So feeling good that the worst is gone. Now it's just about equilibrium and balance and getting shit sorted.
So let's talk about the challenge that you've now set yourself for the next 3 weeks. So Benny, we talked about this when we caught up Friday, but yeah, you've decided basically, okay, we've had a bit of a fall off the wagon. Now we want to be super disciplined. Mm-hmm. We want to be as close to lion diet as possible. You've sent me a little list with your sort of acceptable foods. So we've got meat, seafood, eggs, butter, olive oil, salt, black coffee, black tea, and water. And you're going to try to send me a photo of all your meals just to so I can keep you accountable. Now, let's talk about a few of these items. So, olive oil. Now, you mentioned olive oil because it's in kind of cafe food generally.
Most people use olive oil to cook.
Yeah.
And I'm out at restaurants a lot, so I wanted it to be in the allowance list. So I'm not. These are allowed, but there's flexibility because I'm out. I want that list to be gospel, and I know that in restaurants they use olive oil on most things.
Yeah. Just I would advise not to use it at home, and then what's the photo? The first photo you've sent me. What's that one? Is that?
Yeah, that's
is that chicken
roast
and
chicken
ham or something?
Yep. Roast ham. Yeah.
Yep. Nice. Was that today's lunch or
meal number 1?
Yep. Awesome. Cool.
I think what I'll try to do is take the photos and send them as I'm doing it, so we'll be able to acknowledge if I'm doing short eating windows, if there's any intermittent fasting there, if I am fasting, if I'm eating too frequently through the day. There'll be a frequency conversation as well.
Well, the main thing is to, when you're hungry, eat until you don't want to eat anymore, and then if you're not hungry, don't force yourself to eat it. It's, if the fat tastes good, eat the fat. If the meat tastes good, eat the meat. That's the sort of intuitive way of thinking about it. And if you're having cravings, have a good think about, is it a craving? Like, do I just want a Red Bull because I had a couple last week, or am I actually hungry, or am I actually thirsty? So, if you can't fix it by eating a steak or some eggs or something, then it's just a craving. It's probably not hunger.
Interesting way to look at it. Well, I know I very rarely drink Red Bull, and if I'm going to have a chocolate, I'll have a nice 70% cacao. I love dark chocolate, and before this, it was guilty. Nice dark chocolate, glass of red wine. Wow. But to have a Snickers and a Red Bull, I'd never really do it. And just like McDonald's, Ali wouldn't generally eat McDonald's often, but those 3 days, I think McDonald's was hit up for her a few times. So
Yeah.
circumstances change. We're now back to the new normal. No excuses.
So what have you got set up in the new house now? Have you got anything set up in the kitchen yet?
Kitchen's nearly there. The fridge is plugged in. We've got a cooker there. We haven't done a full shop, but we've just got some sausages and some ham and just a chicken in a bag. We've got most things in boxes that we're still working out of, but by this weekend, everything will be in the kitchen. So there's no problem with the kitchen, but we just haven't found our layout. We've built a couple of couches for the lounge room just to have somewhere to relax. But the place is very, very echoey because we've got no rugs, no furniture, nothing yet. But that's half the excitement, isn't it? Figuring out how you want it.
But you got the basics in the kitchen, like you've got the pots, the pans. Have you got a barbecue or anything set up yet? Yep.
Well, I've got a Weber, but I've been told I'm not to be bringing the Weber on the decking. So I've got to get some sort of electric option or pellet smoker on there. But yeah, I'm not going to be firing up the Webers just yet. So everything's simple and inside.
Yeah. Cool. What else did we talk about when we caught up on Friday?
We talked about a punishment for going off piste, going less. And appropriately, you said, 20 burpees every time you do it. But
yeah, the friendly punishment.
I thought about it, and to me, it makes sense. But also to me, it says, well, if I want that Snickers and a Red Bull, all I need to do is 20 burpees. It sort of says there's a penance or a punishment or a payment for going off piste when I want to approach it as being there is no off piste. There is no other option. So you can call that in next week if you see.
You won't be enjoying them when you're at burpee 15.
No, not at all.
No.
Not at all. No, so I think we'll revisit that if I do go off piste, but I've got no intentions to. I'll say 3 weeks is a pretty short amount of time, so celery. And that means we do what we tried to do in week 2, which lasted 2 days, and that's cut out all milk. Because if you remember, my cups of tea were going through the roof and all that. So yeah, now week 9, 10, 11, 12, 10, 11, 12, no milk, which is going to be hard.
Yeah, well, no dairy. Have you got any idea what you are going to eat for the next 3 weeks? We've got the allowable list of foods, but have you thought about how you're going to cook, how you're going to prepare? Like, what's going to get you through this, Benny? Because, we want it to work for you.
Yeah, I don't have my meat ager. We don't have the huge meat order, which we had. And that made it really easy because I had 20-something kilos of meat in the shed, steak. So that was easy. Now we don't have any of that set up. So in the week, when I'm at the office, there's a Greek restaurant downstairs. I can easily get shawarma lamb, shawarma chicken in a plate. No problem. And I know they will use olive oil. So that's kind of why it's in there. So kebab chicken, kebab lamb twice a week for lunch. And I can do a kilo of that, which will probably take me through dinner time as well. Getting a chuck in a bag is easy. Making sure there's one of those in the fridge so I can just snack on some chicken if it's, if Ali's eating and it's setting off my hunger drive, just snack on that. The weekend is a challenge going up here because we've got to discover all the new restaurants. But fortunately, there's a diner here and they do some of the best barbecue in the Adelaide Hills. So they got good ribs, good brisket, good chicken wings. So I think I might frequent that if we decide to go out. And that's all meat.
Is that
That's
the
all
Woodside Diner?
a Woodside Diner. Excellent
Yeah,
barbecue.
yeah. I was there yesterday because I do my run on Sundays,
Mm-hmm.
and we go to the diner after the run club.
Mm-hmm. Have you tried
Don't
their
get, haven't had any food there, no.
amazing, good stuff? So yeah, I don't think there's going to be a problem. I've got a place at work I can go to. There's even in Mile End a charcoal skewer place where you just choose whatever meat you want. And they just cook it on charcoal, no nonsense, no oil, just salt. So I've got
Yeah,
options.
brilliant.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a problem. The milk in my tea of an evening, I'm going to have to replace that habit of having a cup of tea in the evening because the cup of tea was replacing the glass of wine. So now I've got to replace the replacement. So maybe a
Yeah,
sparkling water. That's all right. That's half the fun of the challenge, right?
yeah. Yeah, well, black tea I'll just try without milk for a bit. Have you tolerated that before? Have you enjoyed that or not enjoyed it?
No problem. Makes your teeth go yellow very quickly or brown very quickly. It stains your teeth. Do you never make those old school treasure maps when you were a kid, when you burnt the edges and soaked it in tea? You ever do that? Yeah.
Yeah, well, probably in primary school or something. Yeah, a long time ago. Yeah.
I was doing my uni degree. Nah, I think it was when I was a kid. I always remember burning the edge off a pretend treasure map. But tea stains more than coffee, so just got to be careful of that. I don't mind black coffee. I'd almost preference black coffee, but when the milk was going haywire, I was starting with the lattes, and there's nothing better than, well, as you do on a Friday, nothing better than a well-made barista latte.
All right. Cool. All right. Well, we've got a game plan for the next couple of weeks, and we're still going strong for the week 12 weigh-in. We've got a strategy for what you're going to eat for the next few weeks. We're in the new house, so hopefully some of that stress should drop off a little bit, even though it's going to be hard to stay prepared because we still haven't unpacked everything yet. But yeah, no, it's good work, man.
My incidental movement and steps have gone through the roof, so it's a positive. I'm doing cracky. One day it was like 43,000 steps. So my movement is through the roof, and just being in the hills naturally, I'm just walking places, even walking from the kitchen to empty the bins and the compost. It's just way more space to move than living in the city.
Further than in the city.
So what happens next? We do our weigh-in 3 weeks. What's phase 2 of the challenge? Obviously, this is about the reset, the discipline, and seeing the impact that eating like this can have, and being convinced that it has an impact. And we're hitting a lot of those. Week 12, we hit the goals or come close or miss, whatever it is. We have a celebration or we don't. What's the next stage from there? Obviously, bringing in some exercise, fitness, more movement.
Yeah. So this is really like a 12-week challenge like this isn't. I mean, it's kind of alluring because it seems like a short time frame that we can, change our lives. But what really happens is we need to turn this into a lifestyle. So, 12 weeks becomes 12 months, 12 months becomes 12 years, that kind of thing. So really we want to finish up the 12 weeks with a good idea of what it's like to integrate this into your life. You've seen, we're going to see the results. You're going to feel the results. You felt when falling off the wagon, you've felt that now. You've had a couple of weeks of stress and, change it falling off the wagon basically. So you've seen that contrast. So hopefully at the 12-week mark, we we have a good objective measurements with the Evolt scanner. You've got subjectively, you're feeling great. We've changed, made some big changes in your life, and then we just need to, integrate it fully and move forward. And then you're going to find, how carnivore you want to be for the rest of your life. It's like with me, I went through that kind of, I went, cold turkey off of everything and went just straight into the BBB and E. I mean, I was eating cheese and coffee and all that kind of thing. But over that, it was about the 3-month mark when everything just started to work for me. When it was really good.
Do you think the blips and the cheats and the cake and the ice cream or whatever, do you think those blips set you back, or do you think they just pause progress, or do you think they reset you back to zero?
I think that if there's just a small blip, you don't reset back to day one of carnivore, but you reset back, like it takes you a few days or a week to reset from that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a baseline and you're cruising along and then you're like, bowl of ice cream, and then you get this big sugar hit and then you dip down, and then it's a slow build back up to your baseline again. So yeah, I mean, in the long run, like what I used to eat compared to now, it's like chalk and cheese. So much different to the way I used to treat myself before doing this. So yeah, and I think that's the main thing for everyone, is to find what they're happy, what they're accepting of, the level, how strict you want to be. Do you want to be super strict? Do you have health conditions that demand that you are super strict?
Mm-hmm.
For example, the skin flare up you had, was that the Red Bull? Was it the Snickers bar? Was it the stress? Like, was it all three combined? Was it? We don't really know, because all these factors, like we call them confounding variables in like science terms or whatever. So we've chucked in there was a whole bunch of stuff that happened on those days, and then with high stress, lots of physical activity. You'd fasted during those high stress, high physical activity days. Then swigged a Red Bull, smashed a Snickers bar. So all these variables got thrown in at the same time, and then you felt the consequences. So after this, so now we're going to lead into 3 weeks of trying to be strict, or relatively strict, as strict as you can be for your tolerance, I guess, like your acceptance of how strict you want to be. Like this is a pretty strict, regimen. Like we're talking just meat, eggs, butter, salt, tea and coffee, like we've got the olive oil in there as well, but that's, a lot of people that aren't living this lifestyle or aren't, carnivore curious, they would think, wow, that's really restrictive. I couldn't do that, So this is
Adding the eggs and adding the olive oil, even adding the tea and coffee makes it a little bit more flexible and a little bit more realistic.
That's right, man. I mean, this isn't about I've tried to do strict line myself, and I can't get there. Like I can do it for a little while, but I haven't done it for like a month or whatever. So, I still have coffee. I'm still addicted to coffee. So yeah, it's you don't have to be a superhero, to get the benefits of this diet and lifestyle. And, the people that do strict carnivore, they're either very disciplined, very dedicated, or they have,
Or
like
very
Michaela
unwell.
Peterson, for example. Yeah, like
Yeah.
Michaela Peterson is a prime example of someone that has to do it because anything she eats that is not pure lion diet just gives her untold pain. So, yeah, but she's probably got some things that she will tolerate every now and then. I'm guessing, I've heard her talk about, she wants to have a drink, so she'll have vodka because vodka is relatively clean compared to other alcohols. So, she still has a drink every now and then.
Yeah, even when Joe Rogan did it, he was drinking whiskey.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had a couple of drinks here and there as well. So I guess,
Ultimately, alcohol is poison. And if you decide to socially poison yourself, and I do, a lot of people do, it's I think even just being conscious that you're socially poisoning yourself is half the battle. So you don't then write yourself off completely. Catch up for an hour and a half, have a bottle of wine between two people. That's 2.5 glasses each. So that's an acceptable amount of social poisoning, right? But if you're polishing off a bottle of vodka by yourself every evening, you've not only got poisoning problems, but you've got the habitual problems there as well.
That's right. Yeah.
And the financial problems.
Yeah, that's a whole bunch of problems. Yeah. I mean, the other night I went down to our mutual friend's retirement party. I rode the motorbike down because I wanted to ride my motorbike, and I didn't have any drinks.
Excuse not to drink.
Nobody really batted an eyelid. Like, they're all having a few drinks, and I was the sober guy there. So yeah, it was pretty obvious to me that everyone had had a few drinks by the time I got there. I got there pretty late. But yeah, it doesn't. I still had a fun night. Like, it wasn't.
Mm-hmm. Did it kick on into the evening? Did it?
I didn't stay very long because I was out riding the bike, so I thought I'm gonna get back on the bike before it gets dark. So yeah, I left pretty early. I'm not sure what time they carried on till. But you don't need to, like you said, you don't need to poison yourself to have a good time. We have a lot of these social contracts, don't we? It's a birthday or a dinner or a retirement or a movie or a sporting event or whatever, and everyone's, we have this social contract that we're supposed to drink at these times. So yeah, I mean, the key point is if you've made that distinction in your mind that every time I have a drink, I am technically poisoning myself, then that's the start. Now you can make a decision based on that rather than a decision based on, it's the grand final. Let's all get pissed, like it's, because that's the way I used to be. It was when I was in my 20s or even my 30s. If there was anything going on, let's have a drink. Let's have a couple of whiskeys. Let's have, whatever.
And those ones are clear to identify. The peculiar ones, especially for my trade, like I get called into menu launches, seasonal changes, and try the new specials that we're putting out. So when I go to see some of the chefs that we've placed, it's just a bit of a difficult conversation to say, hey, I know you've just put out this new moussaka and you've just come back and it's raving all through the industry news, but I'll just have a glass of water and some of that chicken. I've got to get around that, or I've just got to limit the exposure. But that's the balance of life. I'm certainly not out, 3 days a week eating McDonald's, Hungry Jacks, and smashing booze all the time. It's progress. Better makes progress. What is it? Practice makes better.
Practice makes better. Yeah, that's it. Because practice makes perfect is the cliche. And practice makes better is our friend's tagline for their business. But even practice makes perfect isn't really true. So perfect practice makes perfect, but just practicing willy-nilly, that won't make you perfect. So I guess how that relates to this topic is practice those social occasions as best as you can, and be mindful that your refusal to share to drink someone's alcohol or to eat their food is probably more in your mind that it's rude than in their mind that it's rude. Because if you said to them, look, I'm really sorry, but I'm on a diet, you could make a joke of it. Oh, I'm trying to shed off a few pounds or whatever. Or you could be genuine and serious and say, look, I'm just trying to change my lifestyle. I drink too much at these events, and I'm cutting back. So that way, be polite and be firm. Like, stand your ground, because it's your body, it's not theirs. Like, they're if they want to drink 24/7 and whatever, go for it. That's their prerogative. I mean, I know it's a tricky situation for you, because obviously, it's not just, you're not just popping around to some friend's house and saying, look, I'm sorry, man, I can't. Like, this is a business deal for you. So I understand that adds a complexity, because, we're trying to make networks,
Mate, we
and friendships
joke about
and
it.
business relations. Yeah.
We joke about it, but it's research and development. It really is.
It is R&D, yeah.
Gold's chicken skin sandwich is something that you need to try. And it is chicken skin on tip-top white bread, crusts cut off, and it is an iconic piece in the industry. But that's just one. Every chef's got signature dishes that, not just interesting to have, no, but to talk about and understand the chef and what they're trying to achieve a lot more. It's all part of the role. But like everything, moderation. But moderation's hard, right? It's much easier for me to cut everything out for 3 weeks than it is to say, right, everything in moderation, you're only allowed to have 20% of what you're currently doing. And that's near on impossible.
That's it. I mean, a classic example of tasting but not consuming is just like your typical wine tasting event, right? So they give you wine, and if you watch like the wine connoisseurs, they swirl, they sniff, they sip, they taste, and then they spit it out, because they're not there to get drunk. They're not there to overconsume. So maybe in your mind, we need to find a way that you can do that at these events, where you're still tasting the chef's food. You're doing your R&D. You're getting,
Take a bucket.
yeah, that's it. Like, do you have to take a bucket or a paper bag or?
We'll put that idea in the to be developed box. But you're right. Like, it's not just black or white. There's a whole scale of what you do, and I think this next phase is about the reset, and the phase after, which we started talking about, is about how to make that long-lasting and consistent. And part of that is, as I mentioned, I've got now 21 fruit trees in my back garden. I've got fruit and veg, you name it, it's in there. Herbs that I've not seen for years, from Warrigal greens. Like, we got it all. And part of sustainability is, if I'm going to grow it in the back garden, I'm going to be, and it's all in moderation, right? There's only so many herbs that you can harvest from the garden before they're gone. But the new norm is, I will be able to bring some of those things into my cooking, into my eating. We'll be certainly cooking and eating a lot more at home now we're up in the hills. We're not just zipping into the city. I think that's a real happy medium of, if you can grow it, you can go it.
Well, yeah, we briefly skirted on this when we caught up the other day, but there's a lot of like scientific history or evidence of history of human beings being hypercarnivores, which is, I believe, about 70 to 80% of your total dietary intake coming from, meat. And then that other 20 to 30% has been, for the vast period, the vast timescales of human evolution, there was no refrigerators, there was no preservatives. Tribes were nomadic. You wouldn't just live in one valley your entire life. Like before farming, before agriculture, you would have to follow the herds around. You would, if the bison or the mammoth or whatever are moving south, then that's your food source. You would have to keep up with them. So, the plants, the vegetables, the fruits, these are all seasonal. And if you can pull that off in your garden, if you can, if it's, as you said, if it's in your garden, it's good to go. If it's from the supermarket, then, maybe we say, whoa, I don't know, I'm trying to make that rhyme, but yeah. Yeah, I think seasonally, like we can tolerate, most of us can tolerate some veggies or some fruit. I know that there's a few things that will immediately flare up symptoms with me if I have them. Some of the other stuff, not so much, like I seem to be able to tolerate coffee just fine. I think dairy I'm still a bit iffy on, but yeah, if you can find,
doesn't it?
Yeah, I get some skin issues and stuff from dairy. I believe it's from dairy, but I haven't actually had a real good red hot crack at eliminating dairy completely. So yeah, I'll give it a go again sometime soon. Probably in the summer, actually. Probably when it's less palatable. Milk's not the best thing when it's hot.
All right. Well, mate, that was a good chat. Thank you for unpacking it all with me.
Yeah, well, that's a good double episode there. If any viewers are still watching, thumbs up. Thanks for sticking by, and let us know in the comments down below, like, what would you do in this situation? Has this affected you? And Benny, this has been awesome, and I hope you go well over the next week. Keep sending me those photos, and yeah, we'll catch up soon. All right.